Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Food Guilt Coach podcast or YouTube channel, whatever method you're watching or listening this on. And right now and today we're going to actually delve deep into what happens when life gives you lemons, I guess, or when things don't go to plan or you literally get punched in the face. And, or metaphorically, I can't say that word, or, figuratively speaking, punched in the face. And that's literally what happened to me 2 days ago. And I was walking to a coffee shop. It's about a mile away from my home, where I sometimes go and do some afternoon work on a Sunday. And I'm walking there, and this guy nearly runs me over, okay? Totally not my fault, I was crossing the road, this side street, and totally clear, this guy whips in, doesn't indicate, nothing, doesn't look. I have to jump out of the way and I have to push off his car to get out of the way. True story, okay? Only a couple of days ago this happened. And I shout, "What are you doing?" And this guy, amongst everything, gets out the car and he starts walking towards me, effing and blinding. "Have you got a problem?" This, that, very much on the defensive, very much now being the antagonist. And what's so funny was I was just starting to walk away, stepping backwards, because I could recognize where the situation could go. Simply because I've been in similar situations before. And I am a byproduct of an abusive father, physically, sexually, and I was sometimes beat on. And I was also taught, if you're ever in an altercation, get the first blow in. Make sure it counts. So then you can walk away and you've won that moment, let's say. And I did this throughout my school years, if it was ever needed and required, and I've been in the military and I've also boxed and, I would say I'm well versed in the area of self-defense. But this one time, it didn't go the way I planned. And I actually ended up in hospital from one punch because I got punched so hard that I actually broke 3 main bones in my head. My cheekbone fell in, my eye socket snapped, and my skull cracked from one punch. And I now have, subsequently, 10 pieces of metal in my head. And if you're watching the video, you can see a scar across here slightly, and there's a scar just under my eye socket as well. And I've got 10 pieces of titanium in my head, holding my skull together, kind of thing. And the reason why I share this with you is because we are one decision away from changing our life. And that lesson for me changed my whole entire life and viewpoint moving forward. And when this guy was walking towards me on Sunday, I could literally see what he was wanting to happen. He wanted to, have that alpha kind of situation and really kind of like put his dominance on me. And I had a choice here. I could either, one, go first, or certainly respond, because this guy actually came up even close to me and I said, "You don't want to do this." And again, he said, "What's your problem? Have you got a problem?" And, and that's me saying it politely. And again, I said, "You don't want to do this." And he punched me. And luckily, I don't know what you would call it, but luckily for me, it barely even touched me and it was absolutely fine. There's no marks or anything like that. So seriously, no worries. But even in that split second, there was a moment where I wanted to retaliate and I wanted to respond in a particular way. And that's the left side of my brain impulsively wanting to do something, wanting to react to the situation that I found myself in. But the right side of my brain suddenly was, "James, you've been in this situation before." Not literally, but a similar situation. You've been in hundreds of these situations before. Not necessarily in a physical place, but whether you do binge eat, whether you do self-sabotage, whether you do self-harm. And I've been in these situations so many times throughout my past, and we're always one decision away from changing our life. And that could be something as simple as, do I want to have this snack even though I actually don't want it? I'm just feeling stressed. Or shall I snooze my alarm rather than getting up and going for that walk? We're always one decision away from either improving our life or not. And this guy hit me, and I stepped back and I said, you don't want to do this. And I continued to step backwards to the point where he'd calmed down and I just went on my way. And I walked away knowing what I could have done, but I walked away, and rather than thinking, oh, I should have done this, and feeling the frustration that I had in the moment, I walked away actually going, wow, that just shows how much I have evolved from who and where I used to be. And that's the 2.0 version of me that I'm becoming. And the difference between the 1.0 and the 2.0 version of me, I wouldn't have been able to control my emotions. My emotions always controlled me. And this is one particular example that just happened 48 hours ago. But we are positioned with these in everyday life, from a bad night's sleep to a crying toddler, to a argument with our partner, to an uncomfortable conversation or a stressful conversation at work. We are faced with these throughout the day, every day. Sometimes they're constant battles that we feel like we're having to deal with. But the difference between my 1.0 version and my now 2.0 version, and I'm developing even more, so my 3.0, is the ability to know that I could respond in a certain way, but still choosing not to. And that is real control over our emotions. Because it's not that I wasn't frustrated, it's not that I wasn't very, very angry. This guy nearly run me over and then decided to get out the car and punch me, which is madness. But there are crazy people in this world. But so hey ho, if you're watching this, you're crazy. But it's the way that we respond to situations that make all the difference to whether we're learning or not. Because if I'd have responded in an opposite way, that would have shown that I've never learned from all the different situations that I've been in the past, and I didn't make the wisest choice. So what we want to do in relating this to your relationship with food, to your weight loss journey, to your mood in general, is that when we are faced with something where we're then going to feel an emotion that typically isn't positive, we want to build up so much evidence in our mind that actually it's not about what we might want to do, but it's knowing what to do to help us. Because that one decision in that moment for me might have put me in jail. But actually that second part, the right side of my brain coming through there because of the experiences I've had, that is true growth. And this is what I want you to all start doing, because it really works for me. It works within my coaching program, and it hopefully will help you as well. I want you to start understanding that these experiences of ours, however we've responded, whether it's through food, alcohol, through sabotaging ourselves and regret, is actually by not regretting, is by not dwelling on the past and not seeing these as mistakes. Because yeah, I've made hundreds of mistakes in the past, but rather than seeing them as mistakes now, I see them as opportunities to learn and uncover who I actually want to be as a man, as a coach, as a partner, as a son, as a future parent, and what that enables me to do is determine my choices not by rules such as food rules, like you can't eat this, you can't have that, but instead it gets and allows me to decide my choices by my values, what kind of person I want to become. So whether it's a compassionate person, not just for others, but for myself, whether it's a opportunist person. So rather than seeing the defeat in a situation and seeing only the negative, I will therefore always try and find a solution. I will always try and find a positive in the situation. So then I can always focus my attention on what can happen next in a positive spin. Because just like we can create positive momentum, and we always talk about, I'm on some really good momentum right now, but equally, we can build really negative momentum where we're spiraling out of control, or we feel like we are, and we feel like we're stuck in a rut. We're stuck in a rut because we've developed so much momentum down that particular path. So what we want to do is start recognizing the choices that put us down the negative path. So then actually we can learn and understand them. And sometimes it's really helpful to write these down, the lessons, to help reinforce them. So now what I want you to start doing is really reflecting, not on past failures, but on past lessons. And however big, however small, and the best lessons that we can learn from are the ones that happen day to day. So how we respond to an emotion, because then you can really sympathize and appreciate and accept the emotion that you're feeling. Because the moment you can do that by accepting the emotion, I'm really stressed, I'm really frustrated, I'm really overwhelmed, then you can start going, okay, I now know what will help, not what will comfort, but what will help. And there's a very big difference. And I always say one of the first things that we do within my coaching is simply develop the relationship with food where we have food freedom, where we can enjoy certain foods without the guilt, without the restriction, without the sabotage, without the I need to start again tomorrow mindset. And then the next level, and this is the level where I want you to really continue to strive towards becoming, is the first level is having the food freedom. But the second level, the 2.0 version, is actually, I could go and eat this packet of biscuits. I could go binge. I could sabotage everything that I've been doing. I know I could do that, but actually I choose not to. And that's the place where we all want to be. And through working on this daily, you can get there too. So try and recognize your opportunities for growth and start working towards that, because I guarantee if I can get to this place, and if the people that I work with are getting to that place too, if they're not there already, then I definitely know and believe that you can too. So thank you for watching this episode or listening to this episode. Please rate it, subscribe, follow, share it. I really do appreciate it, and I shall see you again soon.